So it looks like the Nintendo Switch is actually selling very well, as it outsold the PS5 and Xbox Series X last month, and even set some records last year. But how is PlayStation 5 doing? Oh, right. Not looking too well for Sony and the PlayStation 5 over there. Yeah, you're getting exactly what you deserve, Sony. Hey, what is going on, everybody? How are you all doing today? I hope you all are having a wonderful and fantastic day today, and if not, hopefully you all will have a better tomorrow. So, the Switch. It has been very successful for Nintendo. I mean, they've been selling very well, and last month they outsold PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X. Now, of course, you have to also keep in mind that it's been very hard for people to even get their hands on the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series X. They have been very hard to obtain. But speaking of that, we're also going to look at the PlayStation 5 again, and we're going to have a comparison between the Switch and the PlayStation 5, because Sony is not doing well in terms of sales for the home console in Japan's history, which I talked a bit about, but we're going to look at a lot of this with the comparison here. So we're going to take a look at that in this video. But first off, looking at this article from Forbes, Nintendo Switch outsold PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X last month and set some records for the year. And, when you look at the Switch is definitely not as powerful in terms of hardware as Xbox Series X or the PlayStation 5, but people are buying it because, well, they have great games, and people don't have to really worry about them being censored. I mean, the only thing that Nintendo really censors on their platform would be their first-party titles, and that's about it. When it comes to third-party, well, you're not really seeing that, which is a good thing, and people are liking that. Hence why they're jumping to the Switch as opposed to the Soy Station. But, so looking at this article. I'm going to start this thing here with the usual caveat about next current gen console sales for the moment, and a reflection of supply, not demand. The PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X plus S are selling out immediately, and it's clear that both could sell millions more units if there were millions more units to sell. Both are doing great, but even in the face of a major console launch like this one, the Nintendo Switch has had an absolutely remarkable year. Even so, the Nintendo Switch's performance in 2020 all through year and again here at the end is a remarkable thing. NPD released both its December report and its annual report today, and the little hybrid system topped the charts in both, attaining some impressive records in the process. PlayStation 5 came in at second for December. Now, of course, if the PlayStation 5 wasn't damaged goods, then, maybe they would have made more sales in Japan, because it's not doing well over there in Japan at all. It is not. It's doing very bad, very poorly. Nintendo Switch was the best-selling hardware platform in units and dollars for both December and the 2020 year, said NPD analyst Matt Piscatella on Twitter. Annual dollar sales of Switch hardware were the second highest for a platform in U.S. history. Only the 2008 dollar sales of Nintendo Wii were higher. I mean, that's a pretty big achievement there. When you look at it, this is going to go well, more than likely, in the long term for Nintendo, as to where for PlayStation, when you look at them, and Sony, that doesn't look good in the long term. I think that because if you look at the PlayStation 5 sales being just so abysmal in Japan, this means the Japanese developers are probably just going to jump ship to Nintendo Switch, because, they won't have to worry about censoring things. Because, you look at Sony, well, what's Sony doing? They've been going woke, they've changed their policies, their main headquarters is now stationed in the Snake's Den, which is California. I mean, Sony doesn't even focus on their home country's market, which is Japan, which, I mean, that is terrible. I mean, they're just focusing on the West now. So, I mean, I'm not going to be surprised if you see this go very well for Nintendo going forward, and you see things start to get worse for Sony going forward. It wouldn't be a shock to me. Software was equally impressive, while Call of Duty accounts for the top two best-selling games of the year. Animal Crossing New Horizons took third, an impressive performance from what wasn't considered a top-tier franchise until this year. The stats for Animal Crossing, however, don't include digital sales, which were likely substantial considering it launched right at the beginning of lockdown, so the real figure would be higher. And I mean, you look at that time, that's when people were starting to buy Switches. I had a friend that he had come back from the Persian Gulf, and he was wanting to get a Switch, and I'm not even kidding, he couldn't get one for 7 months. So, that's something right there. But, I mean, it's pretty crazy when you think about it. I mean, it's very telling. And Mario Kart 8 Deluxe came in at 8th, Super Mario 3D All-Stars at 9, and Super Smash Bros. Ultimate at 14. all with the same caveat on digital sales. And, that's the thing. Like Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, that is an extremely fun game. I enjoy it. And, I do love fighters, so Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, I mean, that's a game that, sometimes in my spare time when I do have free time, I do play it from time to time. I mean, love playing that game. I mean, it's very enjoyable for me at least. I seem to recall rumblings that the Switch was past its prime towards the beginning of the year, but these numbers prove that wrong handily. I would argue, too, that the console has a lot of room left to grow. It's still the most approachable ways to get into console gaming, and there are a lot more people interested in doing so given the year that was 2020. It's somewhat dependent on what Nintendo brings to the table in terms of software, but the new Pokemon Snap and Monster Hunter Rise already on the menu in the first half of the year. I'd argue things already look good. 2021 likely won't be as big a year as 2020 was for the Switch, but I can't help but feel like the thing is still growing and quickly. I mean, yeah, you look at how well Animal Crossing even sold. I mean, it was always like a B tier game, and it always had really dedicated fans, but like it really soared for the Nintendo Switch whenever it came out. I mean, like the popularity really grew, and now some would even argue that it's an A-list game now. I mean, it's crazy. You want to talk about Nintendo bringing in the money? Yeah, they brought in the money. And there's also this right here. Nintendo Switch on pace to outsell PS4 in lifetime sales. As of December 2020, the Nintendo Switch is on pace to outsell the PS4 based on a comparison of the two consoles' sales in their first 46 months. I mean, this is how popular it's become. And the PlayStation 4, it was very popular. I mean, it really was. And now here the Switch just comes in, busts down the doors like, oh yeah, no, we're about to take that crown. And then you have PlayStation, it's like, but we're going to be made of soy. Which goes to show that they're going to just, continue to destroy their own brand. I mean, that's basically what PlayStation's been doing. According to a recent report from VGCharts.com, in the 46 months since the Nintendo Switch launched, its sales have outpaced the PlayStation 4 in its first 46 months of sales. From March 2017 through December 2020, the Nintendo Switch sold 76.99 million units. By contrast, from November 2013 through August 2017, the PS4 sold 63.33 million units. The PlayStation 4 did not reach the same threshold of sales the Switch has already reached until month 53 after launch. And I mean, Nintendo Switch is going strong. I mean, and then PlayStation, well, what are they doing? What's Sony doing? They're just falling flat on their face at every corner. Over the last 12 months, the Nintendo Switch has outsold the PS4 by 7.78 million units. In fact, during December 2020 alone, the Switch outsold the PlayStation 4 by 5.1 million units. Of course, this is unsurprising, as the next generation consoles, which included the PlayStation 5, had launched 1 month earlier, and thereby cut into the sales of the new PlayStation 4 systems. I mean, maybe, possibly. In fact, the PS5's launch also affected the sales of the Switch during its launch month in November 2020. One reason for such big increases and decreases, however, is that the launch windows of the two consoles do not line up. The PlayStation 4 launched in November, and the Nintendo Switch launched in March, meaning the gap between their lifetime sales will vary wildly. I mean, yeah, that's true, I'd say. And, the thing of it is that when you look at this, when you look at PlayStation, when you look at how they were dominating at one point, I mean, they were. I mean, PlayStation 4 was very popular, and then, of course, what happens? Well, they start making all these mistakes, and now they're a damaged brand because they decided to go woke. I mean, PS5 is selling worse than any Sony home console in Japan's history. I mean, that's terrible considering that their home country, Japan, they're not even focusing on them. Like, they're not even important to them at all, which it's terrible to see that when they should be focusing on them as well. I mean, now they're just focused on the West, and PlayStation continues to prove that, they just want to make their games for Seattle, which, that's going to end so well. And this is going to show that PlayStation 5, it's selling so bad in Japan. It's selling worse than any of the other home consoles in the country's recent history. I mean, when it's that bad, I mean, I mean, it's just going to continue to go downhill. I mean, you look at Japan, they know that this is damaged goods. I mean, that's basically what Sony has done to their own brand. They've made it damaged goods. And as they continue to censor anime games, for example, but yet they let pro golfer Abby with that mad swingo running around and, getting thrown over a table and having a good time, you know what I mean? Like, they allow stuff like that. And going around spying on their customers, yeah, well, that's not going to end well. I mean, it never does. And, I mean, you look at this article from Bound to Get Comics. Sony sells less than 1 million PlayStation units in Japan in worst sales year since 1994. I mean, you look at all the controversies with them. That doesn't help. And brand analysts over in Japan, they know that the PlayStation 5, that Sony is just basically, damaged goods. They just know it. They know the brand's damaged. And the thing is that Sony continues to damage their own brand. I mean, Sony's woes in the Japanese market continue as sales data has revealed that the company sold less than 1 million PlayStation units in Japan across all 2020, marking the worst sales numbers since the console line launched in 1994. And, I mean, take a look at this chart. Just goes down. I mean, that's very bad. That is just diminishing. And people are in lockdown and nobody's, wanting to buy a PlayStation 5. I mean, that's very telling as to how bad it's doing. And when you look at the Xbox as well, Xbox, look at the Xbox One. It didn't sell well over in Japan at all. And it's still not doing so. And with that being a problem for Xbox as well. I mean, it just looks like PlayStation and Xbox looks like they're just going to be, Western consoles. They're just going to be ones that are bought in the West, as to where Nintendo Switch is going to be bought up everywhere. It's going to be all around, and it looks like Nintendo Switch is going to, be the king. Nintendo is just going to dominate, and, you have PlayStation, which Sony decided to get woke, and now they're going to go broke all because of it. But anyways, let me know what you think about this entire situation down below. Subscribe to the channel if you were new here, and make sure you were still subscribed because YouTube is unsubscribing people from all their favorite channels, so make sure you were still subscribed to all your favorite channels. Hit the video with a like, and also be sure to share the video on social media. Spread the word and get it out there. It's greatly appreciated, and it really helps out the channel a lot. Also, be sure to follow me on Discord. We have a wonderful community there. Not only that, but it will keep you up to date on when the newest videos will be released, as well as any other upcoming events in the near future. So be sure to follow me on Discord. The link is in the description down below. But anyways, I hope you all have yourselves a wonderful and fantastic day today. And remember, if today was not a good day, tomorrow could always be better. Take care of yourselves and everyone around you. And have yourselves a good one out there, everybody.